Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Sport. I am joined again by my good friend Callum from Kopish and Sanderson show, and this evening we are going to be previewing the big UFC event at the weekend. No, it is not a numbered card. It is UFC London is back. 3 years since the last event. We're back, baby. We're back. Callum, how are you feeling?
Over the moon, bro. Obviously, just a shame we can't actually be there physically, but
I know.
obviously the last time they're meant to come was just before the pandemic started. It was meant to be Usman, sorry, not Usman, it was meant to be Edwards versus Woodley. And that was meant to be a blockbuster fight. That was meant to be Leon Edwards' coming out party where everyone's like, oh, he is as great as he says he is. Yeah. And let's give him a little bit of backing now so he can get that title shot. Obviously, we all know what happened with the pandemic. That got shut down. And we're finally here now. Couldn't do it last year, couldn't do it the year before. We are here now. And I'll be honest, it's not littered with household names. Some of the fights on this card are very, very tasty.
I think there's like 11 British fighters on the card, which just shows the depth of British MMA. There are plenty of potential future champions, future title contenders. But before we get into the new card, let's talk about previous cards first. What is your favourite memory of UFC London or UFC events in Britain?
Oh, in Britain? Oh, that's a hard one.
I've got one. Just don't nick it.
I'm probably going to, though. Is it MB? It is, isn't it? It's Mikey Bisping, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the count, baby.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. So I love Anderson Silva, one of my all-time favourites.
Oh, yeah.
But I always wanted to see Bisping lift the title. And that was the fight that said that if he lost that, he was never going to get a title shot. If he won it, he would have got one. Still wasn't a guarantee he was going to win it, but that was the gate for him.
Hey, and Herb nearly screwed him out of that.
Herb nearly screwed him out big time. But if you ever want to watch a fight and you want to see that grit, determination, hard work, defiance can sometimes overcome talent, that's the fight. And you look at his face after the fight, his face is a mess. But Anderson Silva's never been one to get cut or have a swollen face or black eye. Bisping marks up and his face swells up quite easily. But he was just a man on a mission that night. Again, bittersweet with Till and Masvidal. I've always been a Masvidal fan, but I like Till as well. He's a Liverpool fan as well. Absolutely. So that was bittersweet. Those are probably the two main ones for me. Oh, Bisping beating Hendo as well.
Yeah. There is another one based on a fighter that's on this card, and that would be probably Alexander Volkov knocking out Fabrizio Verdum.
Yes.
Well. That was brutal. So
that one kind of went under the radar as well, because that was one of the best in the world still.
That was Volkov's coming out party. Yeah, I'm a future champ, and he's obviously main eventing on this card with Tom Aspinall. So let's go into the main card. Let's go into the event. Obviously, main event. Tom Aspinall versus Alexander Volkov. How's this gonna go? How's this gonna go?
I think it goes in Aspinall's favor, and I say that because I know Volkov's long, he's rangy, but Aspinall is no slouch either. Plus, who's he been training with for years? Tyson Fury. They've trained together. Who's the best boxer in the heavyweight division at the moment? Tyson Fury. Who's tall and rangy and difficult to get to when they don't want to be hit? Tyson Fury. And he's even come out and said Tom Aspinall is a problem. Darren Till says Aspinall is a problem, but it's not just his hands. His grappling is excellent as well. We saw what he did to Arlovski. He took him down when no one was expecting it, and without even breaking a sweat, he had him out of there in no time. Yeah, no one does that to Arlovski. It's a problem.
I think him and his dad. I think his dad's like a jiu-jitsu black belt expert, and Aspinall's been rolling around jiu-jitsu ever since he could probably walk. So like his ground game is nothing to be messed with at all. And I feel like with Aspinall, I feel like that he's like your new breed of heavyweight. He is got the heavyweight power but moves like a middleweight. You see his last fight against Spivak. Bosh. Just the speed, and you see what Spivak did to Greg Hardy on our last watch long, and he got him out quick, and that's just that just says more about how good Aspinall is. Like you're thinking with a win, and he's knocking on the door. He's knocking on the door with an interim title shot. Probably we know Ngannou's going to have knee surgery. He's going to be out for pretty much a year, so an interim title is pretty much gonna happen. You're thinking if he gets him out there within 3, you're thinking did the UFC put him and Tai Tuivasa together?
That could be the fight, because again,
Uncle
Stipe
Dana
is being spoken about, but Stipe is so inactive. And Stipe,
I don't know if he'll come back. You know, I
was just gonna say, and again, I love Stipe because of it, but it works against him, unfortunately. But if he doesn't make a noise about it, if he doesn't say he wants to fight, he's not going to get a fight.
Yeah.
Aspinall goes out there and makes a statement after Tuivasa made a massive statement.
Yeah.
For me, that's the fight.
Yeah, I think so. I just think like it's... If you look at who else is in that heavyweight division, you're not going to chuck Cyril Gane back in. He probably... He probably needs another win, but you see that there's other heavyweight main events. There's Chris Dawkins versus Curtis Blades, which is happening next week, I think.
Yes.
So there's other heavyweights in and around that circle, but none of them's really standing out. And your obvious contender now is Tai Tuivasa versus Ngannou. But you're going to have an interim belt. And should Aspinall get that big finish, then he should be in line with an interim title shot. And this is his first fight in front of fans. He's had 4 fights in the UFC, all being behind the Apex.
Crazy.
So I think that if he can handle those nerves and use that adrenaline, then I think he'll get the job done. I think he will make this go longer than we all think. I think he wants to stay there longer to get that experience. And plus, he did that last of his camp out in Holland when he was sparring big kickboxers similar to Volkov. So he's that end of camp, just getting someone to see. Probably he wanted to see how his training camp was going, to see how he'd do against other fighters that are similar to Volkov's stature. So I'm as you. I'm going with an Aspinall finish. I'm going to go with a finish inside 4, I think.
You took the words. I'm going to go for a 4th round TKO.
Yeah. I just imagine a nice elbow off the head.
Yeah, I see him breaking him down. I reckon in the first round, I think you'll see a very kick-heavy approach.
Yeah.
I think he'll start beating up the legs, and I think he'll start throwing in his boxing combinations once Volkov's movement slows down and he starts seeing more openings. I think he's going to be devastating.
Yeah. Obviously, next fight. Well. I'm going to talk about like one of my favourite fighters, Jack Shaw, Welshman, undefeated. He's got the nickname the Welsh Khabib, which he says he'd rather be the MMA's Joe Calzaghe, which for me is a lot better. A lot better. Obviously, he's got. His original opponent was Umar Nurmagomedov. Fight fell through, but he somehow fought on another card where he beat Brian Kelleher at featherweight. So that's like another matchup that's fallen through twice. Tim Vasilev. I feel like for me, Jack Shaw gets the job done. He's 15-0. No one wants to fight him.
Yeah.
I think he said on an interview with BT Sport, no one in the top 15 wants to fight me coming off a loss because they're not going to see me as an easy win. And no one coming up wants to fight me because they don't take anything. They can't gain anything from beating me apart from taking away my undefeated streak. So, but the thing is, if he gets a win, he's got to call someone out on that mic. And I know in his interviews, he seems like the greatest guy ever. Seems really respectful, but he needs to get on that mic and he needs to call out someone. Call out someone in that top 15, because call out a Song Yudong, call out a Marlon Moraes, call out a Dominic Cruz, call out someone in that 10 to 15 range to get yourself in the rankings. I do believe if he wins, I think he'll get ranked number 15, is what I think I've read. Should he win, he will be ranked probably 15, 14. This is where you go, right, let's try and get in to fight Song Yudong, Dominic Cruz, even the loser of Marlon Vera, Rob Font, which is coming up at the end of April.
That'll be a good fight as well.
So I'm going Jack Shaw by 3rd round submission, because he is super well rounded everywhere. Great on his feet, great on the ground. It's another father-son combination. Like, his dad will be in his corner, and I think like he'll get the job done. I think he is Wales's best ever hope of someone holding UFC gold, because I think he's that good. Like, Michael Bisping called him the Welsh GSP. You just see him as super well rounded, and to get that praise, you must be some hell of a fighter.
Agreed. Jack Shaw's fantastic. I actually think he stops it early. I think he stops it inside 2.
Yeah.
I think, again, with submission, I think he'll absolutely just tear it down. I see him keeping the fight standing at times and then mixing his takedowns. I don't think he'll just throw in a takedown just for the sake of it. I think he'll mix things up really well, and then I think once he gets the takedown, he'll overwhelm his opponent.
Yeah.
In terms of the call out, though, so here's the thing: everyone sees a call out as you got to be brash, you got to be loud. I think it only suits certain people.
I think he just needs to say a name. He just needs to...
I think he can do it respectfully, and I think, to be honest, in a bantamweight division, you're probably better off going the respectful route than trying to be all loud and brash. But I'll be honest with you, I've got another name, Munoz.
Oh, okay.
I think that'd be a good fight, because again, who stops Pedro Munoz?
Yes.
No one really.
Yeah, that's very good.
Plus, you want to go in there and prove yourself. You want to go and show that you can hang in there at top opposition. But you know Pedro Munoz isn't going to be an easy person to put away. But if you put him away, then you look at the people above you and you say, right, you're not fighting me, but I've just done something none of you guys could do.
Yeah.
Someone's got to give me an opportunity.
You're thinking above Pedro Munoz, you're talking Sanhagen. I was about to say Frankie
You've got
Edgar.
Dominic Cruz, you've got Marlon Vera,
Rob Font, but those two are locked in for the end of
Divashvili.
Wow.
Aldo's still there as well.
TJ Dillashaw, which I think
it's probably the most exciting weight class.
The killers division. It's the killers division because like they're all killers, and we're gonna know at the start of April we're gonna finally get Jan Sterling 2, which obviously will prove you out closer to the time. So I'm going Jack Shaw, 3rd round submission. Callum, you're going second round finish. So your next fighter that you want to have a look in.
It's the baddie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Paddy the baddie. Let's be honest. Again, mean this absolutely no disrespect to anyone else on the card. He's the one really putting bums in seats, though, isn't he, for this card? Yeah. Like, he is. I hate to just compare him to Conor because it seems a bit lazy. But I remember Conor fighting people like Brimage and Holloway, and he was like 2nd, 3rd fight on the card, but everyone was there for him pretty much.
He's like, really high up the cards. Like, he's really high. Considering this is his 2nd UFC bout, he is really high. I saw that he was like co-main event and then got changed.
Yeah.
So,
Paddy, I mean, we've seen him flying triangles, and his striking's getting better as we saw, but it's also that excitement with him because he likes to scrap. He's dead. Everyone he's basically dared everyone in the division to try and knock him out. He said he can't be knocked out. He said 28 have tried to knock him out. Scousers can't be knocked out. 28 people have tried to knock him out, and none of them have been able to. And he's right. No one has. It's a different level of caliber in the UFC, though.
It's a whole different ball game.
Whole different ball game. And I think he found that out in the first time he fought, where he did get rocked. He did get rattled, but he kept his composure, and he shut out the show in spectacular fashion. However, he cannot fight like that. And the example I'm going to use of someone is Gaethje. Gaethje came in, and that was Gaethje's style. I'll take 2 to give you 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And it worked against him because he lost back-to-back to Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. That Dustin Poirier fight was the best thing that ever happened to Justin Gaethje.
Whooped.
Because he just started fighting a bit more smart. No one said he had to stop being as crazy as he was, but there's controlled aggression, and that's what we need to see from Paddy. What I will say with Paddy, though, I don't want him to fall in love with the knockout, because you're not going to knock everyone out. But his grappling, his wrestling,
his jiu-jitsu is something else.
Excellent. So use that to open up for your striking. Don't try and do it the other way around. Don't try and use
your striking to open up to get people down, and then you can start.
So I actually think it's the opposite. I think you start threatening the takedown, threatening the grappling, and then that opens up for your strikes. So I'm going to go for a Paddy win. I'm going for a round 2 win. I don't know if it's going to be a knockout. I reckon ground and pound I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I think he'll win as well. I think he'll finish him second round. I think. I think Dana said like he reminds me of a young Conor, and the massive difference between the two is Paddy's got ground game. Paddy's got a ground game. So when he starts talking smack to let's say we get Islam Makhachev versus Paddy Pimblett, I know that Paddy's got a high level ground game. I know he's not going to get ragdolled around the octagon like Conor did for probably most of his fight against Khabib.
Yeah.
So that's my confidence knowing that obviously 55 that's another division full of killers. But next fighter that I want to have a look at is a Scotsman that's on this card, Paul Craig, ranked number 11 in the light heavyweight division, and considering that he's on a 5-fight unbeaten run, obviously one of the fights was a draw against Shogun in Brazil. If it wasn't in Brazil, he would have walked away with a dub.
He won that fight.
He won that fight. Hands down. You know some of those judges. You know the judges throw up some weird stuff, and like obviously he's coming off a finish to Jamal Hill, who just knocked out Johnny Walker. You just knocked out Johnny Walker, and that shows how good that win was. And obviously, on that record, he submitted Ankalaev in the last second, which, considering on the roll that he's on, that win's getting better with age.
It's crazy. He seems as though he beats someone and then it transforms their career.
Yeah. So get tapped out by Paul Craig.
Jamal Hill has looked like a killer since then.
I think Jamal Hill even came out and went. I think Paul Craig said like they're friends now, like they're cool now, and his mum messaged Paul Craig and went, yeah, that's exactly what Jamal needed. He needed what you gave him, and now he's a whole different beast. And apparently Jamal's going to come out to Scotland and train with him, so that looks like a good friendship coming bonded by the warshed in the octagon. But he's got Niko Kryov, ranked number 9. It's going to be a difficult fight. Fight because I think Paul Craig said that he wants to retire by the end of this year. Retire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon that should he pick up the victory, he's in the what I have nicknamed the light heavyweight division, the hot potato division, because I can't see anyone holding that belt down long term. I reckon it's going to get chucked around between. I think Yuri's going to win the belt, and I think Yuri's going to lose it to Ankalaev, and I reckon Like once it gets stuck with Ankalaev, I think it's going to get stuck with him for a little bit. But until then, it's going to be chucked around because there's no outstanding guy that I go, yeah, you're keeping the belt for a long, long time.
Yeah, so it's the John Jones curse. I think.
Yeah,
John Jones is so good and has been so good that it's almost inconceivable to think of anyone else. And again, even though Glover's champion, everyone still sees Jones as the main guy in that division, even though he's not even in the division anymore, which is crazy. It's just that's the legacy he's left on that division.
Yeah.
But in regards to Craig, I'll be honest. I think if he gets a devastating win, this could be his last fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned around and said, "Look, I want to end it here on a high, close to home, massive win." You don't reckon?
I don't know. Like, obviously, it wouldn't surprise me if he puts his gloves down in the octagon. I feel like he's just like things have just turned around. Like there is a route to the goal. Like there is.
All right. Say he wins this, then above him, he's got Jamal Hill, which is
you'd
weird.
imagine he'll take Krajov's spot at 9, so we're looking at 9 above.
Yeah. So all right. So yeah, I mean, above him is Uzdemir. There's no point in fighting Uzdemir.
No.
Reyes, Santos, no. Santos come off a loss again.
I think Santos is done.
The only way he'll get a title fight is if he fights Smith at number 5 or Rakic at number 3. But apparently Rakic is just sitting on his ranking.
Now, Rakic and Blachowicz was meant to happen at the end of this month, but that's getting rescheduled.
Is it going to be rescheduled then?
Yeah, that's going to be rescheduled.
Okay, cool.
So you're probably thinking...
It might be 3 fights before he gets to fight for the belt.
But do you run him and Ankalaev back again?
I don't think the UFC would.
I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It wouldn't surprise me if he did was like, yeah, I'm out. I think he's mid-30s.
Yeah. To be honest though, you might be onto something here, Luke, because if he does win this and he calls out Ankalaev and says, "Look, you're on a roll, but the last person to beat you was me. Come rectify that."
Yeah.
And if he is able to beat Ankalaev now, effectively could get the next title shot.
Yeah. Oh, we have a couple of comments. We have Greg Livingston. Then we've got Bruce Bob Trotter. So Khalil Roundtree nearly kills a man in a major fit. Then goes. Okay. No, that's got nothing to do with the UFC London card, Bruce. Like, if you want to comment about the card, then yeah, let's not bring stuff about other fighters' personal lives into this video. We're not about that, Bruce. We're not about that. We're not about that. So, next fighter you want to discuss on the UFC London card, Callum?
I'll go for Arnold.
Almighty. Another father-son combo.
I'm not going to lie. This could be fight of the night, in my opinion. I think this will be fight of the night.
The Hangman. I feel sorry. What has Hooker done to upset Dana? Dana gives him killers.
It's great. I mean, like, this is Hooker's nature as well. Hooker's almost become the new cowboy. He's become the new Cerrone. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I know it does because we're thinking about current Cerrone, but Cerrone in his peak was, I'll fight anyone, anytime.
Yeah, he's getting a record like Cowboys as well if he does.
But that's what I mean. That's the risk that comes with being like that. Not only is this a big fight for him, but he's dropping down a weight as well. But he will be the bigger man in there.
I don't know, I reckon that he's going to find that, Arnold Allen, I reckon he's going to be in for a shock, because I reckon Arnold Allen and him are going to weigh around the same.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't think Dan Hooker's going to be like, yeah, I can ragdoll this guy around. I reckon he's going to go, oh, okay, maybe not, because Arnold Allen, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got some strongman genes in there from his dad. So I reckon he's not gonna. He's a big featherweight as well. He's a big featherweight. So I reckon he's not. It's not gonna be. Oh, Dan's the bigger man. I reckon they're gonna be quite even.
Yeah. The thing is, this is a hard one to call. A very hard one. If I'm going to be honest, it's hard to bet for Hooker at the moment.
I think he's won 2 in his last 6.
It's hard to bet for him. And Allen's a problem. A major problem. He's so technically good. I think if Hooker can get him into a war, though, that's where he could potentially
come through. Allen likes a war.
I know, but does anyone like a war like Hooker, though? We've seen him go into the trenches literally with
Dustin Poirier, that 5-round killer.
Arnold, he's never done it with the elite talent that Hooker has. It's not been in those moments, and I'm not saying that Hooker's always swam, and sometimes he has sunk, but at least he's had those experiences.
Yeah,
it's hard to judge.
It's difficult because I was a bit like, oh, why has he dropped down to 45? His teammate's the champ. And he said, I've got no problem fighting Volkanovski. He knows that I won't have a problem fighting him. And I was like, okay. If he beats Arnold, you're thinking you're going to take his streak and you're probably going to get ranked I think he's ranked number 6 or something. So he'll be outside top 5. Does he take an Ortega, a Yair, a Max?
Calvin Cater. That's
Calvin
the fight.
Okay.
That'd be a hell of a fight. It won't get him a title shot. You'd still have to fight someone else after that.
Yeah. Okay.
But if I'm playing matchmaker, and let's say Hooker beats Allen, and then he fights Cater and beats Cater, then I'm throwing him in there with Yair.
Yeah, I'm thinking because Arnold Allen's got the Jack Shaw problem. He's a really nice guy. He needs to respectfully call someone out. And the thing is, I don't know who's left above him, because I saw reports that they want to get Yair and Brian Ortega. They want to make that fight. Yeah, brother. Hey, there are some fights that we need to talk about offline that have been confirmed.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, because they're saucy. Yeah, so you're probably looking above, and if Arnold Allen wins, you're going to give him the Josh Emmett, because I don't think Max is going to hop in.
That does much for him.
I don't know whether or not Max is going to hop in with anyone bar the Volkanovski.
Nah, there's no point. So, Max has knocked back Cater and Yair. There's no point in
just to drop down to Allen. So Allen's in that. Does he fight another up and comer again? Which I think is really unfair on him, because he's got like the second longest win streak at featherweight. Like,
I've got 2 names for you. I've got 2 names. Calvin Cater. If Brian Ortega and Yair is going to be made, Calvin Cater is one.
Yep.
The other one is Bryce Mitchell.
Okay.
I know Bryce is ranked lower than him.
Hey, Bryce said that if Zombie dropped out, give him a call.
Bryce would be a good fight with.
You know what? Yeah, dang it. I think we've got a new matchmaker.
I think we have.
Yeah, hell of money. Hell of money. Yeah, that could be another great fight as well. So how do you think this one's going to go?
I'm going to go for Allen win, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be... Is it a 3-rounder, isn't it? It's not a 5-rounder.
I will just double check.
If it's a 3-rounder, I think he gets the unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision.
I think he gets the UD.
Come on, I need to find this out. Okay, so next fighter I want to touch on. I just want to... shall I touch on Jai Herbert, or shall we touch on the newcomer who's making his UFC debut, Mohammed Mukayev? Now, this guy's...
Mohammed, because I'll be honest, I've not seen much of Mohammed.
Not seen much of him. I've just seen bits of him, but he looks different. He's currently undefeated in MMA, 5-0, but he has a massive background in fighting. I think he's I don't know quite what his background is, but this guy's like an animal. This guy said at like 16, I'll get to the UFC and I'll be champ. He's even said like in his press conference, I'll be champ quicker than John Jones was. Yeah,
You've
John Jones ain't gonna be
before.
no happy about that. But the thing is, at flyweight, you're thinking if he can get a good win against Cody Durant or something, then maybe he could propel himself, because there's no one at flyweight that's really standing out at the moment. Obviously, you got your Figueiredo Moreno trilogy or fourth fight to sort out. You've got Askarov, Kai of France. Now you're looking down from that. They're not really. There's no one screaming saying, "Yeah, I'm the next guy." And if you can get a couple of wins together, then you know how the UFC is. If they strap the rocket, you better get ready. And I reckon this guy is ready.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he will be the champ one day.
Oh, you rate him that highly?
Yeah, I think so. I think other people that have trained with him. So he does his training in Birmingham as well, but he does it with he does training in Bahrain with the Bahrain royal family, because he's got links there. So obviously he signed with Paradigm Sports, which is obviously the same management company as Izzy and Connor. So he's got some hype. Let's hope he lives up to it. I reckon he is gonna be his next big thing. He's good on the mic as well, so he's gonna be great. He's gonna be a great watch.
Paradigm Sports are doing some great stuff. I don't know if you caught one of the managers with Paradigm Sports. He was on the Ariel Helwani show.
Yeah.
They have a really good interview, really insightful as to what they do behind the scenes and stuff. If you're with Paradigm, one, you better be you're a good fighter. Two, they see something in you that means you can go right to the top.
Oh yeah.
It's not coincidence that he's with them if that's the case.
Yeah, and there's no coincidence that Izzy's just signed a mega deal. Mega deal. I'm just trying to confirm if it. I think it's 3 rounds. I'm just gonna say 3 rounds, and if it's 5, it's a nice surprise. So, one last fighter to touch on. Poor Jai Herbert, because who's this guy annoyed since signing from the UFC? Because his UFC debut, Francisco Trinaldo,
horrible fight for anyone.
Horrible fight. Then he gets finished by Rotano Moicano, who, as you've just seen, got his ass whooped by RDA.
Savage.
Beat Karma Worthy, which is no mug.
Yeah.
And now he's been paired with Ilya Tupura, featherweight. He fights at featherweight, beat Ryan Hall last time out, submitted Ryan Hall, which no one's ever done before.
It's crazy because Ryan Hall is a crazy jiu-jitsu player.
It's just different on the ground, and he submitted him undefeated. I think he's a late replacement, if my knowledge serves me correctly. He wasn't the original replacement, so he's come in last minute. That's why the fight is at lightweight. But this is, I feel bad for him because he should be having a good time in his UFC career, but he could potentially go 1-3.
Yeah, which is crazy when
Which
you
is
look at it. But
mental.
look at the caliber. I mean, he has been thrown to the wolves a little bit.
Yeah, he must have been texting someone on Dana's. He must have just go, what? Who? What? Jai Herbert? Yeah, let's just give him some killers.
Throw him in there. I mean, do you think this is a win? Is this a case of it's his last chance saloon for him? If he doesn't get the win here, he's in trouble. Or
yeah, sort of. Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, sort of, because the UFC is a ruthless business. Like they've cut. I've seen like Jared Godden's been cut. Greg Hardy's been cut.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy's been rightly cut.
Yeah.
Jared Godden, don't know whether or not he's been rightly been cut. I think he's won his last bout, and there was potential rumours of him and Paddy fighting. So the fact that he's been cut is big. So the UFC don't mess around, and we'll probably touch on it in another video on fighters that should be looking over their shoulders about whether their futures in the UFC, because there are some fighters coming off some horrendous runs of form. So before we end, I got one question. Got one question for you.
Go for it, bro.
Out of all these British fighters, who is the next one to hold UFC gold? And if you want to be bold, you can say when.
Ooh. Does interim count?
Yeah, go on then. I'll let you have it because I think I know who it's gonna be.
It's gonna be Aspinall if it's interim.
Yeah.
I think Aspinall is a fight away from fighting for the interim, and 2 fights obviously away from fighting for the undisputed.
Yeah.
I rate him so highly. Like his movement, his technique, his strike selection, his decision making.
Could you imagine him versus John Jones if he ever decided to get his ass in gear?
So this is what I mean. I think this could see him become a major star.
Yeah.
If he gets a fantastic result here, this could be the one that catapults him. And I think if he fought Tuivasa and he beat Tuivasa, then he becomes the second biggest name. Well, I'd say third after Stipe. He'll become the 3rd biggest name in that division. Oh, saying that, Derek's in there. He'll become the 4th. He'll become the 4th. I'm settled. He'll become the 4th.
Yeah.
Because Derek and Stipe, they're well known because they've been doing this for years. But he'll become the 4th most recognizable name in the division behind, obviously, the champ, Derek and Stipe. That will give him enough clout to get a title shot, as well as beating Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah. I think if I'm being realistic, he is probably going to be the next one that's going to be challenging for gold. I would have had Leon Edwards, but he's not on the card. But it has basically been confirmed that he's fighting next against Usman.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets it done. Don't think he will.
I hope he beats Usman, but I don't see it happening. I just don't
a
see
whole
how
different ball
he
game.
loses. Yeah, I don't see how he loses right now.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Aspinall is probably my pick. But if I've got a wild card, Jack Shaw. I've got to back the Welshman. He's different, and Dana needs to stop trying to chuck him and the Magomedov, because I reckon he beats Khabib's cousin.
You do?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I reckon he's a lot more well-rounded than people think, and people just and I feel like the perception of, oh, he's a British fighter, he's not going to have such a good of a ground game. It's what most people think, that British fighters have got no ground game, but I think people would be in a rude awakening when you find out that most of these British fighters have got very good ground games. Yeah. They just don't use them as much. Yeah,
I'm interested to see. I'm interested. This card, I know, look, it's not the most glamorous, but it's in London.
As a British fight fan, this is what I want to see.
Even Molly's on the card. We didn't even speak about Molly. Molly's on the card.
It's an Evertonian. Hey, she'll be happy tonight because Everton won.
I know, they finally won.
Yeah, but let's touch on her quickly, because let's not leave her out. Another Scouser. Her last fight, she was basically fighting for her UFC career, because the UFC very rarely lets you fight on the last fight of your deal. They either cut you before or you've re-signed. So the fact they let it go down to that shows that they do have some faith in her. Will she ever win gold? No. Yeah. No, but I think even she knows that deep down. The stuff she's doing outside the octagon as well, with the book, with the with being such a a good influence on young female fighters. I think that's great for her. I do think she gets it done as well. But this is another step up in level.
Yeah.
She'll be fighting a grappler, and which we know is her Achilles heel. But if she focuses on her game, which I think that's what she's going to do now, she's going to focus on her game. Yeah, I think she'll get it done with the momentum of the crowd.
I agree. I think this goes all 3 rounds. I think she may lose the first round. I think she comes back and wins the next 2. I think the crowd galvanizes her. I think she'll figure out how to solve the problem after the first round. And she's tough as it gets. Like the last fight, she's standing in her opponent's face screaming, "Come on."
Yeah.
Like that is passion, grit, everything personified in a fighter. Like she's a fighter's fighter.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's really close with Paddy as well. They train together. I reckon Molly gets it done in front of a crowd that absolutely love her. And I think it'll be a lovely story for her as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone that's tuned in, make sure to smash the like button. And
Indeed.
if you're new around here, and make sure you check out Callum's channels, both in the title.
Thank you,
Sanderson show in the comments. His last video was that great interview with MMA's probably #1 journalist, John Morgan from MMA Junkie. And obviously you got Team Kopish in the title as well. If you want, just relive that Liverpool Arsenal win where they are. I wonder if Callum still got that chef's hat near down there, because he was cooking last night. He was cooking last night. So make sure you check those channels out. And until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, bro. It's always a pleasure being on the channel.
Always
Thank you
a pleasure,
so much,
mate.
bro.
Always a pleasure. And until then, make sure, and if you want to see both of us tomorrow, make sure you tune into LFC Day Trippers as well. But we'll be talking about this again, which that'll be fine for us. And obviously we'll be talking about the fixtures coming up this weekend and much more. So until next time, we'll see you all very soon.